friends, welcome back to my channel. Coming to you with a little Halloween decor today, and I'm also using up some of my stash, which is always a good thing. A few days ago I came across this Dollar Tree heart wreath form, and some of you may be lucky enough to have one. I don't know if you could find one in the stores right now, but if you ask around, you never know, one of your Dollar Tree friends may have one. Now I'm also going to use up some of my deco mesh. I'm not a huge deco mesh fan anymore, but you know, they're still super cute when the project gets done. Anytime I come up with an idea, I a lot of times will Google it to see if anyone else has come up with it, you know, because crafter minds think alike. I could not find one anywhere except for one image on debbiedoos.com website where she had made a post of some Dollar Tree fall wreath ideas. And I found this one. Now she didn't do this, but it does say that it's a candy corn wreath made with a heart wreath form, and they use pipe cleaners to bridge the gap. Now I'm not sure if I'm going to fill in my gap or not. I'm just going to wait and see, because since I have a little sign to go on mine, I may put my little sign right in the center of my candy corn, or I may hang it from the bottom. I'm not sure. The first thing I need to do is go ahead and straighten out this heart shape so it's a little more triangle shape. Since I'm using up some old mesh that I have, I need to cut them 10 by 10 squares. Now when you cut bigger mesh into squares, they tend to want to shed even more, but so I'm hoping that by the time the project gets all done, it won't be shedding as bad. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this big mesh in 10 by 10s, and then I'll be ready to start attaching it to the heart form. Alright, I'm going to show you my super technical way that I cut my mesh into 10 by 10 squares. Now if your mesh is already 10 inches, that makes it even easier. You just can cut it into strips. Put something heavy on both ends of it. Find something that's 10 inches wide. I just have this little zipper bag that's exactly 10 inches. I'm going to cut straight up, and then with this bigger mesh, it's 20 inches wide. So then once I cut this 10-inch strip, I'll cut it in half, and that will give me my 10 by 10 squares. Once again, once you get your 10-inch strip cut, it'll kind of roll up into a tube, and then cut the tube in half. Alright, let me catch you up where I'm at now. And when you're cutting these little squares like this, it consumes your workspace. Let me just tell you, and those of you that have worked with this know what I'm talking about. Alright, I've got my heart wreath form here, and I just took my thumbs and just kind of straightened out the heart form, so now it kind of looks like a chocolate kiss shape. But I think once the mesh gets on there, it'll take on a more triangle shape. Now I just have some craft wire here that I cut in 6-inch pieces, and when I get completely done with the project, I'll let you know how many of each color that I did. So what I basically am going to do is just visually look at this triangle shape and do a section of white. The middle section will be orange, and this bottom section will be yellow. And so at this point, I just kind of guesstimated of how many of each color to cut, and then I'll cut more if needed. But like I said, I'll let you know in the end. I'm doing it kind of what's called the bundle method. There's different ways to work with this mesh. You know, with my little rolls here, it really depends on the look you're wanting. If you roll up your square at a diagonal, it will give a pointy shape. If you roll it up just regular like this, but just a little tighter, you know, rolling it up like this, it will give you this look. It's just like little tight tubes. And I took my 6-inch piece of wire and twisted it up, and then I'll take the two tails of that wire and attach it to my wreath form. And so if you have a Dollar Tree wreath form, you will have 3 pieces of wire like this. Once I get a few attached, I'll flip it over and show you. And working with this mesh, a lot of times it looks worse before it gets better. So you just start attaching the little bundles, and then it will start filling in and look like it's supposed to look. But I know the first time working with this mesh, you think this is a hot mess. But honestly, it doesn't look good until it gets completely done. So what I'm going to do now is just start twisting my bundles in my color sections. As you can see, I have all 3 of my colors on there, and because it is a heart, you know, the center of the oranges are not as full. but I think that's where I'm going to put my little sign. It still needs a little tweaking here, and let me flip it on the back here so you can see. I ended up just using just the center wire, and then as I added more bundles, it just kind of shoved it together. All the colors are done on the middle wire. The only other wire I used at the very top, I did one white bundle to help create more of a point at the top. So fluffy. It's so fluffy it'll barely fit into the frame. But now let me go ahead and show you the little sign I wanted to incorporate. This is because this is simple enough that you could certainly replicate it, because I don't think Target has it anymore. I bought it at a little discount store that sells Target overstock. One side is black with the white letters Trick or Treat, and the back side is Out of Candy painted in orange. The Dollar Tree does have pretty basic letters like that you could easily recreate that. To finish off my wreath, I just went upstairs and picked out some hodgepodge ribbons I had of Halloween colors. I'm just going to crisscross them, just a big X like this. No definite plan, just like that. There's no right or wrong. I'm going to cinch it in the center and tie the center with a piece of jute twine. That's simple. Okay, everybody, I'm here in my front yard and I have it hanging on my front door. The lighting is so good outside so that you can see it well, but I want to hang it up before I'm completely finished with it, because I want to show you that I love the look of it now, but I really think it could be better. It's a little more rounder than I wanted it to be, so I'm thinking that if I take the scissors and kind of trim some of the bottom and then see where that orange is, I could kind of shape that up a little bit. I could actually shape it to be a little more triangle shape. Now, as far as the bow, I just added a piece of wire and wired it to one of the tubes. As far as the sign, I cut the string off and just wired it onto there. It actually is flippable, so I just want to give you a before shot. Let me trim it up and then I'll show you. All right, friends, here is my candy corn with the haircut. And I really think it looks so much better than it did. So just remember, when you're working with this mesh, it definitely can be shaped up. You know, as hard as this stuff is to work with sometimes, on the other hand, it can be the most forgiving. You know, when you're cutting your 10 by 10 squares, they do not have to be exactly 10 by 10. You want them close so that your tubes are relatively all the same size. It just really makes for a cute wreath in whatever shape you're making. I hope you enjoyed this little project, and you might can luck up and find a heart wreath form. I'm so glad I got to use up some of my stash, and it didn't cost me any out-of-pocket expense. Thanks so much for watching, and happy Halloween crafting.